What's up, fight fans? Thank you, as always, for coming through. Okay, I was going to do a video on this subject about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, that long ago. Someone kind of let me know that they've heard rumours that George Groves wasn't going to make it and that the World Boxing Super Series weren't going to give him an extension on the time that they've already kind of extended for his shoulder to heal, and that they were looking at bringing Chris Eubank Jr. into the mix with a couple of other names, by the way, but that Chris Eubank Jr. was the favourite to fight Callum Smith for the World Boxing Super Series final. I didn't do the video. I thought it was just a rumour at the time, and obviously within those 2 to 3 weeks a lot more has come out. It now seems certain that George Groves won't make the final. Remember, when was the final? I think the final was supposed to take place June the 3rd. They were happy. They were happy to give him an extension of about a month, right, to July 3rd. And I don't know if there's been a setback with George Groves or if that July 3rd date now is just kind of a grey area and that they're not concrete that George Groves is going to make July 3rd. And I don't think they want to kind of extend it any further. Remember, they've just announced that their new series will start in September. So they really want to start promoting that. So to be fair to them, I don't think they can risk going to August without starting the full promotion for the next one. Remember, this tournament didn't make no money at all. In fact, it made a huge loss. And I just think they want to cut their losses and move on to the next one. I guess it's unfair a bit to George Groves, but he must have known. I mean, they must have sat down with their team before any of this tournament started and talked about injuries and what happens. And so George Groves would have definitely known that if he is injured and if he does get injured, what the ramifications are. My only concern for George Groves is that obviously the pay is massive. I can't remember how much the winner gets, but I'm sure I read something along the lines of $10 million or £10 million, which is astronomical money. So hopefully George Groves is compensated, whether that means they take a bit off the winner of the final and give that to Groves, or that George Groves is guaranteed to fight the winner and get paid handsomely for that, or if George Groves is just given some money, I don't know. But I guess it would be unfair if George Groves, who for me clearly was the favourite to beat Callum Smith, walks away with nothing and just his semi-final winnings. And if Chris Eubank comes into the tournament, beats Callum Smith, maybe, might happen, and then walks away with the winner's check. That's where my sympathy for George Groves stops. A lot of people have come out and, I think, lambasted the idea of Chris Eubank Jr. stepping in for George Groves and that they're not happy and that it's unfair and they don't want to see Chris Eubank Jr. in the final. I get all that. I don't want to see Chris Eubank Jr. in the final. If we're still thinking of it as a final, I don't want to see Chris Eubank Jr. in the final. I've just forgot all that now. So for me, I forgot about the fact that it's a World Boxing Super Series tournament. I forgot about the fact that it's a final and they're going to get the Muhammad Ali trophy, which is all well and good. But I've almost put that to the side for a second. I don't care about the fact that this is the final anymore. This is a fight, and I think this is what we kind of have to understand now. I think this is a fight that I just would want to see. I just would want to see Callum Smith versus Chris Eubank Jr. Fuck the final. I don't really care about that. I mean, even if the tournament was over, say if George Groves beat Callum Smith, which I think he would have anyway, to be honest, a fit George Groves, I wouldn't then mind seeing Callum Smith versus Eubank. I just wouldn't mind. So the fact I'm going to get to see that now, I have no ill feelings towards Chris Eubank for taking the fight, and I have no ill feelings to the World Boxing Super Series for making this fight. I think it's a good fight. I really do think it's a good fight. And for a number of reasons. I think we all know after watching Chris Eubank Jr. against George Groves that he is not world elite level. I think we know that. But at the same time, his only 2 losses have come to George Groves and to Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, there's nothing bad there. With Callum Smith, I don't know where he is. I'll be honest with you, I have absolutely no idea as to how to rank Callum Smith. I know, remember, coming through, he was this massive super middleweight, good amateur record, and a guy that was going to run through the super middleweight division. Not for me. I'll be honest with you, not for me. I think the fight that I was impressed with was probably Rocky Fielding. After that, I've kind of been like, okay. I'll be honest with you, nothing really, I've not watched him and nothing really has stood out for me. Luke Blackwood was okay, but after that, Skoglund performance was just all right, and Holtzcomb was just all right. Nothing flashy, nothing good at all. So I don't know if he is world elite level either. So I don't mind seeing a matchup between 2 guys that I think are fringe world level. People might say Chris Eubank Jr. is not. I remember after the fight, everyone was like, Chris Eubank Jr. is European and British level. He's above that. I mean, he is above that. I mean, he's beat the European and sort of British level fighters. I mean, come on, stop Gary O'Sullivan. I think Gary O'Sullivan kind of retired, didn't he? Chudinov, Nick Blackwell, Tom Doran, all those are kind of British level. And then European level, the likes of Abraham, although coming to the end and yielded him, they're European level. So he's above that for me. So for me, it's just a good competitive matchup between two guys that are fringe world level. And I think it makes for a good fight. And I think that's how we have to look at it. Forget the fact, again, try and park for a second the fact that it's a World Boxing Super Series final. So for me, I just think of this as a decent matchup between two guys that I don't know where they are in their careers. I really don't know where they are. If Callum Smith does beat Eubank, and I think a lot of people think he does, I don't, then obviously he can then fight George Groves. They can fight, right? But for me, for now, why not do this matchup? A lot of people spoke about the idea of other names other than Chris Eubank Jr. stepping in and fighting. Who? I mean, who's the world champions? Gilberto Ramirez, he's got a fight coming up, I think. Benavidez, do you really want to see Benavidez versus Callum Smith? I mean, no one's going to tune in for that. And maybe some people even mentioned the idea of bringing Jürgen Bremer, who Callum Smith was supposed to fight in his semi-final, instead of Holtzken. I don't want to see Bremer. I don't want to see Bremer fight, I'll be honest with you. So there's not many people else. Jesse Hart's a good name, but he fought in April. Is he ready? I don't know. James DeGale last fought against Caleb Truex. That was a tough fight for him. And then there's Caleb Truex, obviously. The super middleweight division isn't packed with talent. It really isn't. So it's easy saying, yeah, bring another name in. But trust me, there's no other name to bring in. There's no one. Who else? Who else really? So I feel like they're in a tough place right now. Plus, and this has nothing to do with us because we don't give a shit about this, but from a commercial standpoint, I mean, remember, it's going to be on pay-per-view. You got to look at someone that can do decent pay-per-view numbers. I mean, Callum Smith definitely can't. And they're going to need someone that can maybe sell a few tickets. And I guess Chris Eubank Jr., whether we like him or not, does that. He does have a bit of a casual following, so he will sell tickets. They would have looked at the numbers that he did for Abraham, Yildirim, and George Groves and thought, okay, look, it just makes sense to do it. Plus, chuck the IBO super middleweight title on the line as well, and there's a world title involved. So I don't have any problem with this matchup. I really don't. The fact it's the final, I guess, has irked some people and pissed some people off. But again, remove the fact it's a final away. We have Callum Smith versus Chris Eubank Jr. What's the problem? What's the problem? None for me whatsoever. The only problem for Chris Eubank Jr. is that Callum Smith is massive. I mean, he spoke about George Groves being big and strong and maybe underestimating that weight. Callum Smith is huge. He's basically a light heavyweight masquerading as a super middleweight. So the size difference is going to be huge. But, I mean, if Chris Eubank Jr. takes the fight, if he can hire a trainer, a real trainer, to be in his camp and not just yes men, then you never know. It should be a good matchup. And I, for one, look forward to watching it.